hello everybody and welcome to our podcast. Myself and Dax this time are joined with Mr. Switch himself,
Hey.
Mr. Greg Hagland. So we are going to get into sort of why Greg started Switch, where he came from, and the products which really excite him, obviously his whole range because he formulated it.
Yeah.
But
It's like asking
what the
who's
benefits
your favourite
are.
child.
What the benefits of each product are and how they can benefit you guys as well. So what's been happening?
What has been happening? Well,
A lot.
Yeah. What hasn't been happening?
Yeah. On a NXT-GEN side, we've had a lot going on. The apparel is coming. It's coming. They used the wrong material, so we've had a little blow up and we've got that underway. We go to our Thailand retreat this time next week.
Well, there's something always happens with the clothing.
Yeah,
No, I love this.
No. It sucks because I heard this time round, Ari was unpacking it. I know how excited he gets. And I think
I watched his story. I felt like I was vicariously
everything
travelling with
looked
Ari
really
at the time.
good. And then he put the hoodie on, and I hear this, and I was like, "What? The wrong material!" And I was like, "Shit, we've already given him the go ahead."
backstory on that, the material that we want is going to be like this. So it's stretchy, so you can wear your hoodie and still train without any restriction. And when I put it on, it fit perfectly, but you couldn't get in and out.
Look, most people would put that hoodie on and be stoked.
I know, but I want it to be perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
love this. This is real talk, you know. This is not the Instagram highlight reel. It's like,
Oh,
it's
man,
just the
behind the scenes, it's, I usually get it on mine because I
Yeah.
don't really take it too seriously.
I did the same thing today. You know, I mean, we've had some issues with labels that should have been sent to our warehouse, which is half an hour from our label manufacturer, literally half an hour down the road. And instead they decided to send it 7 days north to the Sunshine Coast to our office and had to go 7 days back. And that's that sort of throws out the timelines a bit on stuff. But, you know, most people don't see those sorts of things. So it's actually probably pretty cool that they get to ride this journey with you guys and, you know, feel your pain and your pleasure when things come together.
Yeah, it'd be cooler if they were here and right.
Of course.
We'll get there.
Thanks for content, but
Yeah, mate. We just made it go wrong so you had something to talk about.
Now, Greg, how long ago did you start Switch and why did you start it? Where have you come from? How's it gotten to this point now?
It's a lot of questions, dude.
Yeah, well, just the
What do you
backstory.
got?
Where did it come from?
So, look, I guess, well, Switch for a start, to answer the first question, 2 years. It was our birthday last week. So
Congratulations.
Thank you, mate.
Milestone.
Yeah, we were pretty stoked with that. I mean, at the moment, we're currently Australia's fastest growing sports nutrition range, which we're pretty proud of. We've won a number of awards within those 2 years, which is pretty damn exciting. So people are loving it and voting for it and using it and getting results. So, you know, that's what we created them for. But my backstory, so when I was 7 years old, no, I won't go that far back.
that's when I probably met you. I was 3.
Yeah, I used to pick herbs off the trees and I made them into this little poultice. And anyway, no, when I was 18, I started in the industry, I suppose, as a personal trainer and really enjoyed that. Loved you know, the training aspect of you know, the fitness industry, but felt like I didn't really know a lot about nutrition. So I tried to turn a weakness into a strength and studied nutrition. Yeah, not to say that I nailed that, but you know, I learned a lot. And what I had no understanding of was supplements, which I felt at that time was probably the third, you know, pillar. In terms of getting people holistic results, right? You know, how's your training set? How's your nutrition set? How are your supplements set? And I'd argue now, you know, how's your downtime or stress and rest and relaxation set would be probably a fourth pillar. But yeah, at the time, I sort of thought, right, we'll get into the supplement game. And I started working at a store in Christchurch, where I'm from, in New Zealand. Don't hold that against me, all right? Yeah, started working there and within a few months became the manager of the store and then managed a number of retail stores and really enjoyed, you know, helping people choose the right supplements based on research and science. And we were given an open book for learning in that environment, which was really great. So Vaughan Patterson, who owned Jimmy's at the time, just said, guys, you know, learn as much as you can. We want to be the pinnacle of education and information. So from the very right age, you know, I was really given that environment where, you know, a culture to sort of embrace that education space, and I've never looked back. Like, I've really loved. I mean, to be honest, I think we all probably got into this industry to help people, and I believe that even some of the other competitors that we go up against probably got in for the same reason and then just got distracted. I hope that doesn't happen to Switch, and I'm pretty damn confident it won't. So we really just wanted to help people when we created the range, but coming into the industry, that's what I wanted to do, and I haven't kind of deviated from that plan. So came across the Dutch in 2002, lived in Sydney, and worked for GNC there, where I really didn't want to get back into retail. I kind of wanted to get more into wholesale, formulating, creating, and within about 6 weeks of working for GNC, I got headhunted by Nutrilife, which they're now Vitaco, but started working with them. I was their first sales rep for sports nutrition. Before that, they were really big into their vitamins and supplements, skincare, but really didn't have much of a focus for their sports nutrition. So they wanted someone who could lift it a little bit, and within the first 6 months, we had 300% growth. So just again through that education, understanding, teaching people how to sell it, and how the ingredients work and why they're added to those formulas. Then I started working with them on formulations, and I spent a better part of 4 years with that company, great company, and then I went across to Masashi with the promise that I'd be working for 4 days out of the week, and 1 day out of the week I'd be working with their athletes. So, at that time they looked after the Knights, the Eels, Essendon, all these big AFL, NRL, and which is pretty prudent right now because we've got the State of O tonight. So, and that was exciting for me because, to be someone who really loves to get results for, mum and pop weight loss, weight gain, but to actually work with the top tier athletes, in their sport and using supplementation to drive their results was so exciting. Within about 4 weeks, Nestle took over the company and that all died. So that was a bit of a bummer. So I stuck it out for a year with Masashi, and then moved back to Vitaco Nutrilife up in Queensland, where I now live in the Sunshine Coast, God's country. Love it up there, and spent better part working for them again, and then came across to Flush Fitness, which was a importer and distributor, and they kind of changed the game. I mean, that was back when Jack 3D was big, and they started with black powder. They started, which was when Super Pump 250, and
that was kind of the start of pre-workouts.
It was, and how it's evolved from there is just incredible. But it's in some ways it's sort of de-evolved, and it's ebbed and flowed, that whole pre-workout space, and we're starting to understand the body more and how we respond to those types of products, and how we should use them and how we shouldn't use them. And perhaps that's not really the education information space that's been getting out there. So I guess fast forward 7.5 years with those guys, I get to a spot now where I'm able to create my own range, and I guess just in the evolution of my own goals and focuses had changed. When I'm in my 20s, like most guys in their 20s, it's let's build some muscle, let's get ripped, let's really focus on the aesthetic, the cosmetic. And when you get into your 30s and now into my 40s, it's things change. You get more health problems, I guess, is probably the best description. And I went through a very tough time. My dad died when I was in my 30s, and that was a bit of a shock. He died unexpectedly, and had a stroke at the age of 62, and that hit me pretty hard. So my testosterone crashed at that time because my stress levels went up, and couple that with the fact that when cortisol goes up, which is one of the stress hormones, it has a lot of deleterious effects in the body, and some of them we're still just scratching the surface on, but some of them we definitely know of. And one of those things that it does is it tends to relax the permeability of the gut. So it causes what's called leaky gut, right? And at the same time, it's doing that at the blood-brain barrier as well. So you end up with this leaky blood-brain barrier. So I had this perfect storm where I had a massive stress, something that went terribly wrong in my life, and everybody, sometime in their life will have that sort of thing happen. But at the same time, simultaneously, I had a mouthful of amalgam fillings, like mercury fillings that were put in as a child, and the mercury within those fillings was leaking into my blood, and so circulating through my body was this really toxic heavy metal, and now the permeability of my brain had started to form cracks in it, so to speak, So that mercury was getting into my brain. So in my mid-30s, I had a almost early onset dementia style thing going on where I couldn't finish sentences, couldn't remember people's names. I'd probably walk in here and had forgotten your names. So it was a pretty scary time, and it made me start to look at the supplementation I was using, the food I was eating, the nourishment that I was getting, or the lack thereof, and started to make some changes. So supplementally, it was something that was the low-hanging fruit that I could change almost instantly, and there just wasn't a lot of really good choices in sports nutrition that was healthy out there. So I sort of started to mix and blend my own things, continued to work for other companies, and then when the time was right and when I had my opportunity, Switch Nutrition became the genesis of trying to help people have a healthier option in a sports nutrition space. And I think we've done a pretty damn good job of that.
Yeah.
So for myself, I met you back when you were working for Flush and I was working for ASN. And I remember you flew down and done a seminar in store. And I remember after you finished, I was just sitting there thinking, I thought I knew a fair bit, right? Right? And you actually just took it to, I'll never forget, it took it to another level, and it opened me up and got me more excited for what I was doing as well. Then years later, I remember when I met up with you out on the Sunshine Coast and you said you were starting Switch.
That's right.
Right? Yep. And it wasn't long after that.
CK Whole Foods.
Yeah, that's it. I remember I come back and I told Ara, I said, we got to get Greg's stuff. I'm going to this brand.
It only took a year later.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm going to get to that, right? This, I knew that, with your knowledge and your passion behind this brand, that it was going to kick ass. And I think our fear was back, you know what it's like. And it's, everyone just wants the strongest pre, people will choose a scoop of protein over a scoop of Vitality back then, let's just say that, right? Or a greens formula, right? I agree with that. And it was how are we going to educate people to let them know the importance of inner health more than just the strongest pre, the best protein's going to build muscle, blah, blah, blah. But then it's sort of, you've done the work for us. Now it sells itself. It's our biggest seller in store, by hands down.
Vitality, Vitality.
Now,
Absolutely.
and that was it for us. Once we bring it in and people, we're very grateful. We have a very good customer base, and they listen to us, and what we're finding now is people are actually realizing that the importance of things like your Vitality Switch, now your amino switch for recovery, your better sleep's adrenal switch, and you will touch on those products. So the protein powders and pre-workouts are great, they have their place, but we're digging deeper now, and for you to educate people, and that's why the brand's it's worked out.
Yeah, but I can't do it alone. So it's having people like you guys who are passionate about it. I mean, we're talking to guys who use 2 or 3 serves of Vitality a day, because you know that it helps you, and you know that it's going to help you long term too. So it's not just the short term game anymore. And the fact that you're cognizant of that and you're actually imparting that wisdom onto your customers, that's why you have the customer base you have. That's why you have the loyalty you have, because there's not too many stores out there. I mean, I travel the country and I talk to stores the same way I've talked to you guys, but not every store takes it in. Not every store passes it on. And, as much as I'm an educator and a teacher, I like to think of myself as a student. I spent an hour driving south today from Newcastle. I was listening to a podcast the entire time on sleep, and what the impact poor sleep has on different health conditions. Because I want to learn more and want to understand more so that I can give people the pain points or touch points, or give them the incentive or motivation to do something about it. You know what I mean? I mean, if I turned to you and said, hey guys, you're all about making sure you've got adequate amounts of testosterone because testosterone builds muscle, that testosterone will help you burn fat. Well, if you knew that having 6 hours sleep a night versus 8 aged you by a decade in terms of testosterone level, you might be more cognizant of getting a good night's sleep and using supplements to assist with that. You know what I mean? So there's a bigger part to play here. It's not just supplementation, and I think when I started Switch Nutrition, we launched it with a 60-day body challenge with another retailer, and it wasn't, my intention was never to create a 60-day body challenge. Like I didn't, that wasn't the purpose. I just wanted information and education. I wanted people to know how to supplement, how to train, how to eat, how to breathe, how to do everything, right? Because I felt that the holistic approach would get the best results long term, and that's what I wanted for people. I don't want you to buy Adrenal Switch and have to have it every for the rest of your life. If you can form a plan that helps assist you get the best results in the shortest amount of time, well, I want that for you. But at the same time, to do that, then you have to be aware of all those other parts. And unfortunately, there's a lot of things that get in the way of eating well and sleeping well and training well and all the rest of it. And we all have lives and we're all human, and there are going to be hurdles and obstacles. So I kind of look at it and go, rather than giving people the perfect option, let's give them some things they can implement into their programs and plans that will assist them in getting the results in the absence of perfection. If that makes sense. So that's where Adrenal, because I've had different people within different parts of the industry where I've suggested that they use Adrenal Switch at night to help them sleep, and they've come back at me and gone, well, how about a better sleep hygiene, around blue blocking glasses and around not eating 2 hours before bed, and around blood glucose management and all this other stuff that's not just about taking a supplement. And I completely agree. That's why we write blogs on these topics. That's why when we do seminars for you guys, we educate on that. We talk about that. In fact, next month we're going to be doing a giveaway where we're giving a pair of blue light blocking glasses away with Adrenal Switch to help improve that space so they get even better results from the product. So for us, and for me personally, I created Switch Nutrition because I wanted a range of products I could use that were free of any artificial colours, flavours, preservatives or sweeteners, which are traditionally in every product in the sports nutrition space. And they had no gluten, soy, lactose, dairy, no allergens, so that we could find a healthier option for people. Because, we have this help not harm approach, but you could argue that thermal switch or power switch, they're still stimulants, right? So I know that people are still going to want stimulants, but I want to give them a healthier alternative. So that was really the mindset. If I can help them with a lot of stuff and then give them a healthier option in other spaces, well, they're going to be pretty set for moving forward in the right direction.
Can I ask you, what is your biggest seller? Am I going to say Vitality?
Probably Adrenal.
Really?
Still.
Okay. Yeah. Then Vitality?
Yes, in store, but online Keto. Keto's number one online through online retailers, in store, Adrenal and Vitality. Because that's an easy look. We talk about protein. Protein's a macronutrient. It's absolutely essential. Hence, essential amino acids make up protein. So you need essential protein, right? But what about all the other micronutrition? The vitamins, the minerals, the polyphenols, antioxidants, all these things. And you guys have heard me say this before, and I have these corny lines that you guys love to take the piss out of me about. But the micros make the macros magic. Magic, eh? And it does. You cannot assimilate protein, carbs, fats within the body usefully without the micronutrition to work as cofactors and enzymes, and to be able to help to get your body digesting and utilizing those other macronutrients. So people are dead set focused on, I've got to eat this amount of protein, this amount of fats, this amount of carbs, and that's great. It's a good starting point. What about your micros? And then, I doubt I'd get any argument from either of you guys, and probably most people.
I was going to say, just people who don't know what micros are.
So micronutrients, they're the B vitamins and vitamin C's and essential vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, K.
It's all from the fruits and veggies. And,
exactly. Coming from cruciferous vegetables and leafy greens and colourful vegetables and fruits, etc.
Which are hard to get out of fruits and veggies these days because of where they're grown.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it's not even any more about whether people are trying. I reckon a lot of people are. I genuinely think people are trying to eat as many vegetables and good fruits as possible, but the nourishment's not there anymore. I don't think I'd get an argument from either of you blokes if I said, you go back 500 years ago, the level of stress and toxicity that our evolutionary ancestors had was probably pretty low, and it's gone like this. It wouldn't even be linear. It's probably spiking now. The amount of man-made chemicals that we're pushing into our environment, the amount of stress that we're under daily because of social media and expectation and life in general, means that we're getting this real rise and toxicity and stress, which is feeding into inflammation. And inflammation is the root cause of all disease. Everything that kills us now as modern humans is from inflammation.
Yeah.
So, but simultaneously, at the same time as we're getting this rise in stress and toxicity, we're getting a downturn in nourishment. I mean, they reckon we've only got 60 years worth of topsoil left on our planet. And that's pretty damn scary. So, a hot topic now is actually regeneration of the plant, bringing the plants back into the soil rather than just using NPK or fertilizer that contains only 3 of the minerals. They want to repurpose and organically grow. But even that, we're now getting to a point where people are growing organic food and then putting it in cold storage for 6 to 8 weeks, and it respirates and it loses nourishment. So you really have no guarantee anymore that you're getting any real decent nourishment from the food that you're seeking out. So for us, Vitality Switch was a no-brainer. Let's fill that gap. If this is what we need and this is what we're getting it down here, we need something to bridge that gap. And that's what Vitality was designed for. But when I think of Vitality, I think of youthfulness. I think of, let's bring back someone's vitality. And that is cognitive function. That's digestive enhancement. That's hormonal balance. That's, lack of inflammation. That's helping the hair, skin, nails, the presentation cosmetically as well as, internally. So we had 5 different blends that we've created that could easily sit as 5 different products, and we brought it into one, and we made it affordable, and we made it taste good. You know what I mean? And that was my biggest challenge, to be honest, getting a greens to taste good. I mean, you guys have tried greens.
Yeah. I remember when they first came in back in the day, they were horrendous. So bad. But you drink them just because you knew it was doing something for your insides.
Yeah.
At least with these ones now, they actually taste good. The mango passion fruit.
Oh, no.
I love that one.
Yeah, it tastes like a juice box.
Yeah.
And, it's nuts, right? But, I mean, my favourite's a cucumber lime. I'll go a step
Still
further.
a taste test. Remember Pepsi Cola?
Yeah, we did
taste?
that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, funny you say that, because we're doing that right now in our office and with the offices next door, because we're about to release a protein powder in the plant space. And, there's a number of different plant proteins out there. But the biggest issue with them, and I'll circle back to Vitality in a minute, but the biggest issue with plant proteins is they're gritty and grainy. So, we wanted to try and overcome that because we wanted people to enjoy it. Because, let's be honest, you could have the world's best protein, the world's best superfood greens like Vitality, which I think is damn near there. But if it tasted like garbage, it would become the world's best shelf ornament.
It's hard, because customers are so... These days, anyway. I remember back in the day when pre-workouts first started. Yeah, the pre-workouts were horrendous. It was one flavour, fruit punch, which never tasted like fruit punch. And you just drink it anyway. I remember drinking some of them, throwing them down and just going, oh, it's so bad. These days, they're so spoiled for flavours. If you're new to the supplement game, you don't really realise how lucky you guys are to have so many great tasting supplements, and especially with something like your greens. You've done an amazing job flavouring them, and not only that, the formula is very good as well.
Well, and the biggest challenge, right, from a greens perspective, so this is the crazy thing, right? So almost every greens on shelf today, the first 2 ingredients are barley grass and wheatgrass. Now, when have humans ever eaten grass? Never.
2 a.m.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was just going to say that. I did wake up one night with grass in my mouth on the side of the road.
Not every day.
It was a totally different situation. We won't talk about that one. But, on a daily basis, grass has never been consumed by humans. We don't have the 4 stomachs to break the cellulose down into butyric acid to, create short-chain fatty acids. So we don't eat it. We get our chlorophyll from kale, spinach, broccoli. Those are the foods that are in our food system. So why not use those? Yeah. And that's exactly what we did. So here's the shocker, right? So all of a sudden we've taken the grass out of the formula, and guess what? Doesn't taste like grass. Yeah. Woohoo!
Do you think it's a cheaper option for these companies?
Massively cheaper, yeah. Because I actually did look at it, and common sense prevailed. I went, hang on. When were we ever eating grass? Why am I following? I feel like a sheep just following the herd. And I went, nah.
So what do you think when you look at companies like, I hope I don't get sued here.
No, I wouldn't mention
like company
companies.
X.
Well, certain companies that have wheatgrass shots or barley grass shots.
I'm not super opposed to them. I just think there's a better option. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay. But I'm also, aware of don't let perfect be the enemy of good. If you've got a cafe down the road that's got a wheatgrass shot and you've run out of your Vitality Switch, well, maybe that might be a good choice. But if you've got Vitality Switch on hand, Man, it tastes a lot better and it's a hell of a lot better for you because, you've got a blend there that has all the greens, but it's also got an organic medicinal mushroom blend. So let's just talk about that for a second. Mushrooms like reishi, shiitake, turkey tail, lion's mane, they've been used in traditional medicine for centuries for cognitive function, for immune regulation, for anti-inflammatory purposes, for liver function, for anti-parasitic purposes, antibacterial, antimicrobial. So they're really good at helping balance the microbiome and detox the body. They upregulate NRF2, which is a endogenous detoxification system that's more powerful than any herb you can put in your body because they're actually accelerating your own internal systems. So these things are amazing. They should be called magic mushrooms, but we get confused with other mushrooms. So we're going to call them medicinal mushrooms for this purpose. But, they're incredibly effective. And then you get into some of the really cool stuff like chaga. So chaga is actually grown in the Arctic Circle in the top end of Finland, right? It's horrendous conditions, freezing cold, hardly any sunlight half the year of the time. And this, fungus is trying to grow. So it grows really hardy. And it grows with a ton of antioxidants because it needs to support its own health. And so it is gram for gram the richest antioxidant food we know of on the planet. So when we test Vitality Switch for its ORAC value, which stands for oxygen radical absorbency capacity, that's the ability of it to scavenge free radicals, which are oxidative compounds that can degenerate the DNA and cells of your body and age you quicker. Okay? It's like rust on a car. So if your car starts to get rust, that's oxidation, okay? Well, imagine all the cells in your body are rusting away. Yeah, right. That's oxidation. Mm-hmm. And so you want antioxidants to stop them, to fight them, to balance the body, okay? And the Vitality Switch provides equivalent to the antioxidants of no less than 8 serves of fruits and veggies in one serve. Okay. Circling back to the gut dysbiosis, so just to elaborate on that term, you have good and bad bacteria in the gut. Let's call them that. That's probably a bit of an oversimplification, but most people have seen the inner health, bugs on the seesaw kind of thing. Yeah. So there's 2 different strains, for want of a better term, of bacteria. There's actually thousands of strains, but let's classify them into Firmicutes and Bacteroidetes. Okay, and the Firmicutes have the innate ability of actually extracting calories from your food very effectively, and the Bacteroidetes are essential for producing different vitamins and getting the micronutrition from your food. So you want a really good balance, because if you don't have Firmicutes, then you can't get good amounts of calories from your food and you'll starve, or your body will think it is. And if you can't get enough nourishment, well, your body can't function, right? So you need both. But in certain circumstances, things can change and quite easily favour the Firmicutes. I'll give you one example of that, and this is really interesting. So you guys have worked with a lot of competitive athletes who want to get on stage and look lean, and most of the time they're hypercaloric to do that. They're eating less calories than what they're burning to burn off some body fat, right? So as they do that, most of the time not using a greens product like Vitality Switch, they're just eating their macros and they're focusing in on their chicken, broccoli, rice, or whatever it is that they're eating. And I know that most diets these days with coaches are a little bit more sophisticated than they used to be, but nevertheless, the micronutrition starts to suffer. They certainly don't tend to focus, many coaches, on probiotics. And the balance of the microbiota gets out of whack. Because you're starving your body, essentially, it builds up more Firmicutes. And you can understand why that would happen, because the Firmicutes' job is to get more calories from the food available. Well, you're giving it less food, so it starts to proliferate because it wants to get whatever is available. Does that make sense? So you get this build-up of Firmicutes, so you're able to extract more calories from the same amount of food or less food as you go on, as you continue. So this is why we get people that say, I dropped my calories to 1,500 and I started losing weight, and then it sort of plateaued. So then I dropped it to 1,200 and I started losing weight again, and then it plateaued. And that's because the balance of those Firmicutes are coming up each time. So it's able to extract the same amount of calories from the less amount of food. Okay? And people don't tend to understand that part of it. So what happens post-comp, they've gone from, calories down here to all of a sudden post-comp calories up here, but they've got the Firmicutes abundance that can absorb all these calories, and they blow out like a blowfish because they don't reverse diet. And they've got these, this screwed up microbiota. So that's one way that things can sort of go south, is that people don't make the effort to balance the microbiome with good probiotics like we've got in the Vitality Switch. And instead, let the situation as they're trying to lose weight continue to occur. The other thing to be mindful of too is that body fat or fat tissue on our body tends to hold on to fat-soluble toxins, and as you break down fats, you release toxins back into the bloodstream. An extreme version of this is The Biggest Loser, and in the first week of The Biggest Loser, I spoke with Shannon Ponton for 40 minutes on the topic. He said they're weak, they just don't handle the first week of training. It's nothing to do with them not handling the first week of training. It's everything to do with they're in such a low calorie depleted state, and they're breaking down so much adipose tissue or fat that they're releasing all of these stored up toxins from decades of toxicity back into the bloodstream all at once, and they're purging, they're throwing up, they're trying to get rid of it. Because the 4 pathways of detoxification, poo it out, pee it out, sweat it out, breathe it out, they're just not quick enough, so let's throw it out. You know what I mean? So, there's a lot of things that I feel that some coaches are now starting to learn and understand, and they make adjustments accordingly. But, there's a number of different ways to stuff up our body, and the Vitality Switch is there to bring that balance and harmony back.
Yeah.
And the third and final way, which I think is really important for the audience and listeners to understand, is sprays. Insecticides. Almost all of the leafy greens, fruits and vegetables that you're buying from your supermarkets, unless they're organic or state to be spray-free, they're not. So what is going on here? Why are we spraying food? Well, we're spraying it to kill off the bugs, because the plant itself doesn't have the antioxidant capacity to fight those bugs off on its own. So number one, that plant doesn't have enough nutrients to even support its own health, let alone yours. And number two, so to help it out, we've sprayed it with insecticides to kill the bugs. Now you go and eat that food and it goes down into your gut where you have bugs.
Yeah.
Where you have microbiome. Okay, those are bugs. They're good and bad, but they're indiscriminately being killed off by the insecticides covered in your food. So, we want to repopulate the good bugs, but we also want people to be aware that they can do something to avoid that kill-off, die-off effect. Start buying spray-free. If you don't buy spray-free, wash it in apple cider vinegar and wipe the fruits and vegetables clean to try and remove as much of that residual pesticide as you can. Yeah. So we're out there educating on this sort of stuff, and meanwhile you've got these guys selling God Slayer pre-workouts and other things, which is not our game. I don't know if there is one called God Slayer, but it's a good name. It's just from our perspective, we know that if we can get the internal workings and health of the body and the balance back, and your body's working for you instead of against you, then anything's possible. You're going to be.
Now, you've been in the industry a long time, like you said. I've seen it change over the years, but in your opinion, how has it changed from what it was 15 years ago to where it is now? And where do you see it going in the future? Yeah,
so I think it's going in the right direction, I've got to say. I think that, 7, 10, 15 years ago, first of all, if we go back 15 years ago, most of the supplements on the market tasted rubbish, as you've already pointed out. Yeah. So one advancement since then has been, improved flavour systems. We do everything naturally, so, no artificial colours, flavours, preservatives or sweeteners. So all natural, and we can get some of the best tasting supplements on the market. So it's achievable, and more people are becoming aware of that. So I've even seen in recent years a number of American companies that are going colour-free, because there is, it doesn't take much to Google red dye 5 and see the carcinogenic effects that these things are causing. So we're in an information age where people can access, they can look at an ingredient, Google it, and see if there's any ill health that's going to be coming along for the ride. So I think that companies are realizing that the consumers have access to information, not just their sell, their pitch, so people can find out more about their product independently of what we sell them. So, I love that, we would talk to a naturopath. Like we were at the Naturally Good Expo on the weekend. We had naturopaths, practitioners, dietitians, nutritionists all come around picking up the product going, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, these formulas are amazing. And when we get our peers saying that about the product, and then they're going to start using them with their clients, we're going to see a real shift in health and wellness.
Yeah. And so how did that was a good expo?
Really good for us.
Yeah.
Because, we're a new kid on the block, in the scheme of things, 2 years old. A lot of people hadn't seen us before, which is a shame, but at the same time, if we went there and everyone goes, oh yeah, I know about Switch,
it takes time. It takes time. We've been here for 3 years now, and people still walk in this shop here and like, how long have you been here for?
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
crazy,
man. What's going on?
And Mark, go back to the marketing drawer. But I think that, I think we'll see a shift into, the natural supplements, rising. Well, put it this way. I've spoken to a number of large, including yourselves, retailers, and I know you're pretty humble blokes and you don't see yourself that way, but you know, you're making a difference. And you tell me that Vitality Switch is one of your biggest sellers. Well, what does that tell you about the trend?
You know what's funny? I remember, I think it was in the first year that we opened, the first 6 months. I remember Balance told us that they were taking the whole range natural.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, that's going to be the end of the company.
Yeah.
No one's buying natural stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's shifted that there's this big natural shift. And like, credit to them, they went the right way. And
they did,
it's paid off.
And look, if you can do it and make it, the key is to make it taste as good as the unnatural stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Because honestly, if it doesn't taste good, these days people aren't sticking with it.
No,
and you have to enjoy it.
It's become more mainstream. That's the thing. Like, supplements used to just be for bodybuilders, so they don't care. You eat plain food, you drink whatever to go and train. These days, it's become so like our customer base is gone from anywhere from 15 up to how was it?
We had
67.
We had a 14-year-old do our challenge and a 74-year-old.
There you go. There you go.
Both getting amazing results.
15 years ago, they would have probably never walked into a supplement store, let alone.
And your challenge, guys, hats off. I've seen a lot, I've written a lot, I've done a lot in that space, and you guys have created by far the best culture and community that I've seen across the entire country. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's across the world. Because you just, you've nailed it. But you're both, compassionate, empathetic guys. You understand people's challenges, and you have a really, a way with nurturing their results and not just saying, come on, suck it up and do it, And I see that attitude far too often, and it's disenfranchising. So, from my perspective, I love working with blokes like you that just are happy to say, hey guys, here's a healthier option, and if you can't get to it every day, at least try and do it every second day, or let's just do this, let's make baby steps, right? So, and like I said before, you've got to enjoy it. You've got to enjoy the food you eat, you've got to enjoy the training you do, you've got to enjoy the cultural community you're within, and the supplements you're using. So that's why we put a lot of time and effort into not only making sure the product works, it doesn't hurt people, and it tastes amazing. Like, those are the real 3 pillars of the brand that has been successful.
So apart from the protein that you've said you've got coming out, what else? I reckon you're going to bring a crazy.
I reckon there's a Testboost
to come.
There is a Testboost coming.
Now, I reckon
should we leave some bombshells?
Yeah,
my business partner.
I reckon that Testboost is going to change the male.
Yeah, this is going to be
game. Cool. Hey, it's going to just send shockwaves through.
It depends when you guys going to release this, because I don't want to release it too soon because we're not quite ready yet.
Well, I didn't have to say too much.
Okay, all right. But yeah, we've definitely got a test booster, or what I'd like to call a hormonal optimizer.
Okay.
So it's there to optimize the hormonal balance of both men and women. So it's not indiscriminately a test booster. It's just it's a herbally based formula, herbs, vitamins, minerals, and aminos that will work synergistically to help balance the
powder
hormones.
or pill?
We were going to go powder, and I'm not going to say what the ingredient is, so this is what I can do.
That's all right.
We were going to go powder. How's this for funny, right? So I'm one of those guys, and you probably are too. When you get a herb or you get something sent to you, first thing you do is go, dip. What does that taste like? Because then you know what you're working with, right? So maybe I'm the only one that does that. Sorry,
I don't know. Personally, I haven't done it.
You're a bit weird, Hags, mate.
I heard you say yes.
We get a herb sent to us.
I don't know what sort of herbs you blokes are using, but anyway, this particular one, which is got some incredible evidence on it for supporting and balancing hormones, including the elevation of testosterone in men. It was used in Southern America as a analgesic or an anti-pain, and it actually numbs the gums and tongue.
Yeah, right.
So the first time I stuck my finger in there, I went like that. I went, yeah, right. And I was like, I went up to Nicole. I go, it numbs my tongue. She goes, what did you stick your finger in it for, you goose? I said, I do that with everything. I'm like, I can't talk properly. And it was just hilarious. She lost it. And I was like, but hey, how about this? People sometimes love beta-alanine, right? The tingles they get all over the body. I thought, imagine people are drinking this and they're drinking, their whole mouth goes numb. They'll be like, oh, wow, this is amazing.
Imagine the phone calls we'd get.
So here's what we did. This is the funniest part. So we formulate this test booster as a powder because I'm thinking this is going to be amazing. Gave it to 2 people, and both of them bit into their gum and bit into their tongue because their whole mouth was numb. And so when they were talking or eating, they bit into their own tissue of their mouth. So So that went to a capsule. So we will be releasing the first sort of capsulated product. Whoops, sorry, boys.
Yeah.
Is going to be the hormonal optimizer. So it's trial and error. There's one for you. Don't go sticking your finger in all sorts of powders and thinking it's a good idea. So that's coming. Definitely the protein, which is going to be uniquely different, but will be vegan. So for everyone that got upset about the marine collagen and the vitality, you'll be happy to know we're veganising that product, and it does taste amazing. I'll tell you the flavors, which is some information I can share on the product. So we've got a dark chocolate, we've got a vanilla bean. There's nothing exciting really about those two, but we're also doing a peanut butter toffee, which is freaking off its head. Like it is amazing.
What does it taste like?
Like you've basically mixed salted caramel with peanut butter.
Okay.
So it's just
Can I ask you how many samples did it take you to get that flavour?
It actually. Probably the first time on that one. Yeah, I know from your experience. You guys have had a
How many conversations have we had about some of the stuff we've had done
for your brand, for Magic, Look, it doesn't always work out. I'll give you an example of when it doesn't work out. So Thermal Switch, it's a thermogenic pre-workout, fat-burning, energizing, mood-enhancing, super pre-workout formula, right? I don't use those products. I just have a coffee. I got sick and tired of hearing that. So I was like, right, I'm going to make a espresso flavoured Thermal Switch. And we spent the better part of a year trying to do that. And as best we could do, it tasted like you mixed your coffee with a juice box. It was horrible. So we was like, abandon that. And we actually got to the point where we even had, the artwork made up for that particular flavour. We were so confident we were going to get it, and we just couldn't. So, you have some failings, and you've just got to be able to admit that you when you can and can't do something. Yeah. So I'll tell you one that's coming. Right, this is only 2 weeks away. I haven't even told you boys this yet, but this is amazing. So, Amino Switch is being used, for both intra-workout and post-workout recovery. It's equivalent to 30 grams of WPI because of its net nitrogen utilization. It's so superiorly absorbed that you can use it post-workout for muscle recovery and repair, and it's 5 times faster than WPI. So a lot of people have now slipped it in after their workout and pushed their protein back a bit further. Mm-hmm. Biggest question we've had on that one is that, well, I'm using your adrenal switch after my workout and I like the chocolate. Could you bring out a chocolate amino switch? So we've been working on that for close to 6 months. And we have nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. It's as good as the chocolate adrenal, if not better. So amino and chocolate and an essential amino acid, and no one's ever done that before.
Yeah.
So I think there's been companies do like chocolate BCAAs and stuff, but it doesn't make sense because BCAAs are traditionally just intra-workout. EAAs encompass that intra-post-workout window. So having it post-workout, you've now got a vegan, no bloat, post-workout, rapidly absorbed protein source that tastes awesome, and chocolate, and you can mix it with your adrenal switch chocolate. So that's coming out. We're doing it as a limited edition 30 serve only. And I'm pretty confident it'll take off, and if it does, it might hang around for longer. But for now, we're just going to run it limited edition, so look out for that mid-month. So that's pretty cool too.
So for someone who's watching this and they're like, oh man, it's so much information, I don't know where to start. Do I look after my hormones? Do I look after my gut? Do I get a fat burner? I mean, 9 times out of 10, when someone wants to make a decision, they want to change their life. They'll walk in and they'll grab a fat burner or a pre-workout and then go and smash a session.
Yeah.
From your point of view, do you reckon that's the best way to go about it? Would you address it in a different way? How would you fit around other products into that sort of...
That's a challenging question because people want immediate gratification. All right, so they take a pre-workout or a fat burner because they contain stimulants, they feel it, they get motivated, they go into the gym and they smash it out. So I'm not opposed to that because if whatever it takes to get them moving is probably going to be quite beneficial long term, as long as it's not full of artificial crap. You know what I mean? But so it's hard for me to argue that space. But if I was starting with someone, ultimately I would start with the foundation of what was going wrong with health, and that is the lack of nourishment, which is Vitality Switch, and the too much stress, which is Adrenal Switch. So Adrenal Switch will mitigate and lower the stress, and the Vitality Switch will help to remove the toxins and help to support the nourishment and support the gut microbiota and hormones and enzymes and everything within the body. So I think if you started with those two, Vitality in the morning, well, in the first 5 days, if you really want to reset your gut microbiome, Vitality with the first meal and last meal of the day, twice a day, okay? And Adrenal Switch even twice a day for the first 5 days. let's get your stress under control. Let's get the magnesium levels back up. Let's get your body in a real zen state, and where you can now start to, motivate yourself to really go after that goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and only then, would I bring in. It's really hard to decide. If fat loss was a goal, I'd go keto, because it has an amazing shift in the calorie in, calorie out equation. And if muscle gain was a goal, I'd go amino.
Okay.
All right. And you notice I haven't even mentioned a pre-workout or a fat burner.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So power and thermal would be, the latter part on the run for me. That's if I was working with a client one-on-one or giving them the best advice. That's the advice that I would follow. So this is not to say that it's right for everybody. We're all individuals. Some people might need that motivation and kick up the arse. But I'm pretty damn confident if you get a really good night's sleep on adrenal and you wake up and have vitality, you're going to feel pretty freaking good.
You do.
So you may not even need that increased caffeine level, from the pre-workout and stimulants.
One thing I've noticed, we've had quite a few bodybuilding pros come in the shop, and one thing I've noticed is they never take a stimulant pre-workout. It's always just a pump formula.
Yeah.
They never take them, and it's like, you see all these pre-workouts, but they're always just after blood flow pump.
Yeah.
They don't want to get their heart rate too high and things like that. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
That makes sense. I mean, the biggest part of the, I guess the workout experience is to get the pump, because what is a pump? Pump is blood to muscle. And what's in the blood? Well, all the nutrients that are needed to make the muscle work and grow. And, as the body pumps, blood into the muscle, it also pushes out the lactic acid. So the greater the pump, the better the selfie.
That's right.
But also, at the same time, the better the result.
Yeah.
So, you can't underestimate a pump. I mean, if anyone's watched Pumping Iron from Arnold Schwarzenegger, they all know what he describes a pump as. But it is really an important piece of the whole puzzle. So, when we're working with Power Switch, we use Vaso 6 in there because it is necessary to turn on that endothelial nitric oxide synthase pathway. So everyone goes, oh, citrulline, man, how much citrulline you got in your pre-workout? We've only got 3 grams. We don't need more than that. But we're actually going to reformulate with more, and that goes against what I've just said, but I'm doing it because it's the perception of the customer, not because it's necessary, which is really sad. So, to compete in that pre-workout space, people are picking up products and comparing them. Oh, this one's only got 3 grams of citrulline, this one's got 6. Well, this one's got Vaso 6 in it, which is going to unlock that whole system and make sure that 3 feels like 9. You know what I mean?
I think people don't really understand those patent ingredients yet.
No, they don't.
I reckon that in the next 5 years, people look at it and the other way around. Oh, hasn't got Vaso 6. It has got Vaso 6.
Yes.
And they'll make the decision based on that. But they've sort of just started to creep into the
industry.
Yeah,
they are. Yeah, I mean, you've had NO3T and stuff like that, which are nitrates and things for a while.
Yeah.
But, patented ingredients have always been around. Bioperine for bioavailability, or estrogen, and now cell charge and stuff like that. So you are getting ingredients that increase the bioavailability or increase the outcome result. And that's the funny thing. Like, we'll get people that have used other pre-workouts or fat burners with, a similar amount of caffeine to, say, Thermal Switch, and said, oh, nah, couldn't handle it. It was made me jittery, made me shaky. I felt sick, nauseous. That won't happen on ours. And they're like, why not? I said, because we use ingredients that make it work effectively and efficiently without that negative, shaky, hypertensive feeling, and you're not going to get the crash, because we use ingredients like L-theanine. We use methylated B vitamins that are going to manage the metabolism of those nutrients. So those are small things. Like, you pick up a pre-workout. I mean, how many people are picking up a pre-workout and going, what's the B12 form and what's the difference between this one? And no one's doing that. How much caffeine's it got? How much citrulline's it got? So they look at those key ingredients because there are only a couple of, and I understand why, because it's the yardstick by which they measure, because there's only a couple of ingredients that are similar sometimes. So like, okay, they've both got caffeine. This one's got 350, this one's got 250, or the 350 is going to be stronger. Not necessarily. And it's perhaps not going to be the feeling you're looking for either. And a lot of the times too, what really upsets me is that people will come in, and you guys must get this a lot, and they come in and they say, mate, what's the strongest pre-workout you got? This one's just not working anymore. Well, let me tell you a little bit about, the way the body works with adrenaline. There is no such thing as adrenal fatigue, okay? Your adrenals aren't getting fatigued. They're still pumping out adrenaline and cortisol. You're just not responding to them, all right? The same way the pancreas pumps out insulin for type 2 diabetics, but they don't respond to the insulin, okay? So they're insulin resistant, and in people that are not responding to these stimulants, they're adrenally resistant. So they're resistant to adrenaline and cortisol. So they're pumping it out, And the cortisol's doing the damage, but not the good. Not giving you the energy, but it's giving you the weight gain around the midsection, atrophying your muscle or breaking down muscle tissue because it's catabolic. So you're getting the negative of the cortisol, but not the energy lift of the adrenaline and cortisol. So that's a pretty sad state to be. That's why adrenal switch has been such a success, because the ashwagandha improves the adrenal receptor sensitivity. And we added schizandrogenesis to the amino switch, which nobody's done before. And we did that because the schizandra is an energizing adaptogen. It'll actually help your body adapt to the stimulants and use them more effectively and efficiently. You'll respond to them better. So if you're using amino switch intra-workout, no matter what pre-workout you're using, you're going to get a better result from it. Okay? And not to mention, you're getting all the essential amino acids to build muscle as well in one product.
Yeah.
So it's just getting the customer to understand that they don't need stronger pre-workouts. They need to respond to what they're producing now. And that's why Adrenal Switch and Amino have been so successful for you blokes and your stores and across the country.
Yeah, once I understood the damage high levels of cortisol was doing to myself and how I managed it, everything else works so much better.
Man, that's a podcast on its own. The things that cortisol
I used
does.
to be like most people when I was younger. Well, a lot of people do it these days. Like, you couldn't lose the fat, so you have another scoop of fat burner, another 40 minutes of cardio, another 3 hours later. And I'm thinking, like, my cortisol is just sky high. Once I realised how to manage cortisol, products like Adrenal Switch, there's another couple that we used before these came out. Less cardio.
Yep.
Better sleeps and
better results.
The results.
Man,
like, it's
amazing,
just
right?
So, like Aria said, like, where's it heading for me personally? I think it's it's heading towards like the deeper parts of what we need to do to manage getting the results. Do you know what I mean? So we lower the adrenal, not fatigue, like you said.
Yeah.
Or cortisol resistance.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to start getting the better results if we're going to use a fat burner. Do you know what I mean? Our body's going to digest better because we're using stuff like Vitality Switch.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
It's just bringing the body back into balance.
That's right.
And when your body's working for you rather than against you, the results come naturally and organically.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think everyone's starting to dig deeper now. Well,
I think so. People are smarter, people are more educated, but not even that. There's easier access to information.
Well, the good thing with your brand too, Greg, like you go on your website, there's not a lack of information on there about anything. There's so much information on there. You go on there, there's videos, there's recipes. I mean, the most basic thing to do, but tastes so good, and our challenges is adding a scoop of your Adrenal Switch to Chobani yogurt.
Yes.
Like we put it in and people were flipping out. This is amazing.
Next level, right?
And I've got a good friend who loves the Adrenal hot chocolate. Every night. It's amazing. And I'm like, is it like Milo? Come on. It's better than Milo. Do you know what I mean? Like, such a basic thing, but people love it and they're getting the benefits of...
So recently on that, we at the Arnold earlier this year in March, we actually, one of the girls that works for me, Nick, she decided it would be a smart idea we were running out of chocolate and salted caramel because we'd been mixing it up in the coconut yogurt, and everyone was frothing over it going, this is ridiculous, I want to buy that flavour. So we were running low on those two flavours. So instead we go, what do we do now? We've got all this yogurt and we don't have any chocolate or salted caramel in. Let's mix the lemonade in. And the lemonade goes like a lemon meringue pie. It is next level. It'd arguably be my favourite now. I really love it. And honestly, when we sample out the three, I would say that lemon would come in number 1 or 2, almost every time.
Wow.
It's amazing like that. And the lemonade, you can have it hot. That's the beauty of Adrenal Switch. Don't do this with Vitality for anyone watching at home. You don't heat that up. It's got probiotics. They're shelf stable but not heat stable. But your Adrenal Switch is heat stable, so heat it up. The lemonade you can have hot, like a hot lemon tea in winter, and grate some ginger into it. You got this lemon ginger tea, which is great for soothing the throat, and just a nice way to finish your day and calm, relax, Netflix and chill. So
you're a fan of the strawberry.
I like the strawberry. It's water. It's great.
Yeah, it's a great flavour.
Every time someone comes in, I goes, the
strawberries are best. Strawberries are best. And we all have our favourite, and that's why you got to have different flavours because and we do multi-packs for that purpose. We bought those out. That's accelerated the sales because people have gone, oh great, I can try all 5 flavours and get a handle on it and then figure out what I love. So that's worked well for us. I mean, it's just I guess as a whole, I try to treat the customers as I would myself. I try to look at what would I want from the brand. I definitely look at it that way because I use the products myself. I'm sipping on chocolate vitality and chocolate keto right now. And the only reason I'm using ketones right now is because it helps improve brain function, and I want to be smarter than you blokes. So,
it's going to be hard.
It is going to be hard. It's hard to let but so there's some really cool side benefits, and to say, hey, we formulated Keto Switch to help improve brain function and lower inflammation would be a complete lie. We know that it has those benefits, but that's not going to sell to your average person walking through the door at NXT-GEN. They come in and go, keto, fat loss. That's a synonymous sort of term. It's like saying omega-3 fish oil. If you did word association, keto would be associated with fat loss. The shame of it is that a keto diet was actually developed in the 1920s to treat non-drug responsive pediatric epilepsy. So kids that had epilepsy that weren't responding to drugs, they put them on a keto diet and it cured them. Ketones are so good for the brain that they actually may, in fact, help reduce the symptoms of epilepsy, which we just spoke on, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, PTSD, traumatic brain injury, mood and anxiety disorder. So, you're just feeling not quite there in the head, bit of brain fog, you want to be a little bit sharper, articulate things better, critically, creatively think. If you're studying and want to retain that information, well, the plasticity and neurogenesis of the brain is reliant on BDNF, and ketones upregulate that system. So you've got a product that accelerates and improves brain function, simultaneously lowers inflammation, controls hunger, and increases your metabolism. All in one product for $2.50 a day. Who the hell wouldn't want that? So that's kind of Keto Switch in a nutshell. I guess guys got any other questions on the brand or?
I think you've pretty much covered the brand, and the new products look super exciting. Sound super exciting.
There's some fun stuff coming, I can assure you.
This time of year, obviously, it's hard for people to get motivated again, get back into the gym, get back into training.
Sure.
From your point of view, what's 3 tips that you give someone who's lacking a bit of motivation, maybe not feeling 100%, or where would you go if you were trying to find your motivation again back?
Number one is community. I think finding like-minded people that have a similar mindset and goals. You guys do a great job with your muscle. What do you guys call it that you were doing last night?
Muscle squad.
Muscle squad.
Yeah.
Which is a bunch of like-minded guys that want to have a similar goal in mind. Find a group of people that you can train with. Yeah, I think the first thing is find something that will fit into your tight schedule of time, your day, whether you've got kids or work or whatever you've got to work around. I'll be honest, lately, I had a big box gym membership and wasn't using it because what I was finding is that I would go there and do the traditional chest triceps sort of workout, and I'd only get to the gym 2 or 3 times a week because of my busy schedule with work and education and formulating and doing all the things we do to run a business, right? And so I just didn't feel like it was working for me. So I cut that and I started F45. And I've really enjoyed that. I can just go, no brainer. Wake up in the morning, have my thermal, my keto, off I go, and I'm just ready to hit the day. And so I can do that 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm. So find something that fits into your schedule.
Yeah, find that thing that fits, and there's people that can help you stay on track. I think another thing to be cognizant of is what you have in your cupboard at home. Like, clean out the cupboards. There was a study done which was called the M&M study, and it was basically they put a bowl of M&Ms on the desk of workers in an office block, or in the drawer out of sight, but right where they could grab it, or in the kitchen, which was 10 feet away. They had to get up, walk over to grab the M&Ms. And I'm sure it's no surprise that the ones that were sitting out on the counter on their desk were the ones that got eaten the most. So if the food that is not going to help you get to your goal is in your house, get rid of it. Clear it out.
Out of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you have to actually go, Uber Eats has screwed it for everybody. It makes it so easy to get shit there now. But for the most part, if it's not in the house, you're less likely to do that. And find things that will replace those things you love. Like, I personally am a big chocolate fan. So after dinner, it used to be a couple of squares of dark Lindt chocolate. Guess what? We've got a cracking recipe for the chocolate adrenal switch where you can mix it up with almond butter and coconut oil, put it in the freezer, and it goes like dark chocolate. Like, it is amazing. And if you want to put some more cacao in there to darken it up even further, you can do that. And I can break off a couple of pieces of that, and I'm set, and it helps me sleep and lowers my stress, and I'm ready to go. 12 calories coming from the adrenal switch, and not a whole lot more from the amount of coconut oil and almond butter I use.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps, and I just want to say a big thanks to you guys. Unless you've got anything else you wanted to discuss, for having me on today. It was
thanks for popping in.
Yeah, man, I love it. I love working with people like-minded that have goal-orientated, focus really, because when people come in here, I've seen you guys work, and it's not even a job. You're actually genuinely trying to help people, and that's what we've set out to do. So there's a real harmony between our brands, between NXT-GEN and Switch Nutrition, because you've got a brand of quality products that want to help people and people that want to help people.
Yep.
I don't think we can fail. I think that your customers won't fail either. And that's why they keep coming back, right?
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
We all enjoy helping people and seeing people get results.
Yeah.
We all get a buzz off it.
Yeah.
That's our buzz. You can see people come in, and we get people come up at our challenge after party. I mean, they've had a couple of drinks, but a lot of
them
them
probably use an amino switch because it's great for preventing
hangover. That once more. And a lot of them will say, "Look, you've helped me change my life."
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? That's amazing.
Feeling, right?
That's what makes us come here every day.
That's what keeps me alive, man. Honestly,
100%.
we get those messages. I've had one just last week where a lady was using Keto Switch and Vitality Switch for fibromyalgia. Nothing else had worked. She was waking up with chronic pain. Within a week of using those two products, pain was gone. And I get goosebumps on that stuff.
Yeah,
like, that is what
because this is your brand, you've formulated it, and you've changed someone's life.
And that's the amazing thing. And same with the advice you guys offer with, in concert with the products that we provide. I mean, having a great product is one thing, but having it sold and used the right way, that's what we need. And we need more people like NXT-GEN out there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Greg, thank you very much. If you guys want to check out the Switch products, they are all online or in every NXT-GEN store. If you have any questions, just comment below. And just before we go, Greg, how quickly can you say free of artificial preservatives?
Pretty damn quick. No artificial colours, flavours, preservatives, or sweeteners.
And one other question, what the hell's a juice box?
Oh, really?
From New Zealand or something?
It's like, it's
A
mango.
popper. Just juice.
Like a popper, like a Just Juice.
Oh.
Yeah, lucky we cleared that up. All right. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys.